Hi everybody, welcome back to tnoozLIVE at GBTA, presented by BCD Travel. I'm Martin Cowang, Editorial Director for tNooz.com. Next up we've got Scott Gillepsie, who's Managing Director of tClara's, which is a travel benchmarking consultancy. Now, Scott's well known in the industry for unsettling, let's say, some of the established paradigms of the corporate travel landscape. So first on the hit list, we've got savings, and I think you described savings as procurement's participation trophy.
Participation trophy, right.
Maybe explain to people that aren't familiar with the phrase what a participation trophy is to begin with, and then explain why you think it's procurement's participation trophy.
Sure, yeah, so participation trophy, maybe it's American idiom, but it's given to youth sports teams, to everyone on the team, simply for showing up. There's no effort required, no special recognition for results achieved, not for necessarily winning anything, but just participating.
Okay, right.
It's a meaningless award. A
meaningless award. So yes. A procurement department savings a participation trophy, how does that work out? What do you mean by that?
So it's a conclusion that I've drawn that the only functional value of the savings metric is to show procurement's value. It's a navel-gazing exercise or a chest-thumping exercise.
Oh, look at how clever we are. We've saved X.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. When that's not the real issue, is not how much we've saved. The real issue is what price did one pay. That's worth focusing on. Okay. But the measure of savings is irrelevant to all outside of procurement.
Okay, yeah, no, I have a similar thing. I mean, people talk about, you can go to an outlet and you can get 50% off a jumper, but that jumper still costs £1,000.
Yes. Right.
Okay, so so should savings be? You've also said that savings should be a low priority for most travel programs. I mean, so if savings is a low priority, what should be the high priorities for a travel program?
Sure. Let's think about who we should ask that question to.
Okay.
Right. It's not it's not finance, it's not procurement, it's not HR. Those are all staff functions. We need to ask that very question to senior management, those who own the travel budgets. Okay. Chief Commercial Officer is the prime example, right? Let's ask him or her what's most important for a return on all the money they spend on travel. What do they want back? What do you think their answer might be?
Well, they might want a sort of return on investment for travel. They might think, if I'm spending, $10,000 sending X to Tokyo, I want him to come back with X plus Y amount of business. I mean, that would be my gut instinct. Not sure whether that's something you would agree with. Or?
I think that's a very likely top goal for any senior management to expect out of their travel spend. A positive business impact, a result. Might not be measurable, but there has to be an expectation that there is value received for the money spent. Far outweighs any savings. You never send one to travel because you can achieve some savings. It's like asking my wife to go shopping so she can save money.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So it makes no sense. So savings is just a low priority, irrelevant exercise. We need to look at getting positive business results from those trips. That should probably be job one. Another very worthy goal is increasing retention or decreasing attrition of road warriors, right? And for some companies, it's mainly about health and safety of the travelers. Any three of those goals far outweigh trying to achieve savings.
Okay.
So I say.
So says Scott. So sort of savings as the raison d'etre of a travel program is something that we've consigned to the great recycle bin of life. Another thing I know that you're quite passionate about is the whole idea around KPIs and how established KPIs aren't really fit for purpose in this stage of the life.
So they are fit for purpose, Martin, if the goal is to measure cost and to control cost. They're well suited, they're well designed, they're well evolved for that purpose. But if you think about changing the goal from controlling cost to one of the others that we've discussed, such as having more successful trips, better attrition or lower attrition, or safer, healthier travelers, now you need new KPIs. None of our existing KPIs measure any of those new goals.
Okay, so what sort of KPIs are you thinking need to be invented, or are they there but not widely used?
So if the goal is to decrease attrition, there's a very handy, stable, well-practiced HR metric called attrition rate. So we could just look to that.
Okay.
For successful trips, it might be something that we'd have to invent. The one I propose, and we've used successfully in some research we've done, is simply asking road warriors over the past 12 months, what % of the trips have you taken would you rate as worthwhile, somewhat worthwhile, not worthwhile, or I don't yet know. So we could make it as simple as that.
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
Yeah.
so when you're sort of out and about with these sort of slightly left field take on established paradigms, I mean, what sort of reaction are you getting from the sort of chief commercial officers and the procurement departments and the finance directors?
So I haven't spoken to very many chief commercial officers,
Yeah.
although we did have one in our session yesterday here. Chris Fluke, who's the managing director for Flight Global, looks
Yeah.
after a large budget, including travel, was quick to agree that his priority for getting return on spend on travel is successful trips. All right, I think
Okay.
we need to ask more of those people that same question. When we talk to finance and procurement, it is definitely like a bit of a little uncomfortable thought process going on. For the travel managers, I tend to see people nodding their heads and agreeing. What I don't see is the courage to take this very far forward yet. So
Okay.
I'm pushing people in that direction.
And I think that's just because this is quite a new, a fresh approach, or is there a sort of a built-in resistance to change, maybe?
There's always a resistance to change. I think we're very comfortable at measuring cost and savings. We've done it for a long time. It's mature, it's well known. There's no fear in figuring out how to do it. It's just a matter of whether or not the numbers will make you look good. The idea of measuring some of these other goals, progress toward these goals, is uncharted territory, right? We don't know, we don't have the recipe, we don't have the book written for these things. So there's a lot of risk of failure, that goes along with the benefits of discovery. We just need some brave pioneers to pick up the challenge and go forth.
Okay. So I mean, just again, so if we're sort of like savings, KPIs, I mean, are there any other, established corporate travel paradigms that are in your firing line?
Yeah, let's talk about travel ROI.
Travel ROI, okay.
All right, yeah, return on investment. It's a very popular catchphrase, and you would think that most business people would want to see an ROI on travel. I'm just very pessimistic we're going to be able to create a defendable measure at scale for trips. I don't think it's within our grasp anytime soon. So we need a simpler proxy for successful trips, something like I described earlier.
Okay, and what might that proxy be? Sort of just sort of like
Road warriors
satisfaction rates?
assessment,
Yeah.
self-assessment of the trips that they've taken over time. I think that's as clean and simple as an approach as I think can be scaled and still be useful.
Okay.
People will probably improve on that. There'll probably be better ideas, but we could start with that.
Okay.
Right.
And so sort of just looking about sort of tClara, I mean, who do you work with?
Yeah, so we provide two types of benchmarks, all aimed at ultimately the corporate market. Any corporation that has large air spend, has a large set of road warriors traveling, creating that spend. We have benchmarks customized to tell them whether or not they're paying too much to the airlines and whether or not they're traveling too hard. So they might need to treat their travelers better.
Okay,
Right.
and that, when you say lots of road warriors, I mean, what's that in terms of numbers?
It depends on the company, but probably for the average company, they'll have probably 15% of their credit card holders, if they're individual issued credit cards, 15% will qualify as road warriors.
Okay, so sort of 1 in 6.
Yeah, 1 in 6, yeah, something like that, or traveling enough to meet that criteria of a road warrior.
Okay, and then finally, just in terms of, you presumably this isn't your first GBTA. I think you've been to a few, probably not all of them. I'm just wondering what's the mood music like today compared to last year?
I think there is a greater acceptance of this idea of the need to treat travelers better. I'm seeing more evidence of it in the education sessions and on the exhibit floor. Traveler wellness, health, safety, sleep is a really important issue in all of this. And there's more appreciation and recognition that these things actually do matter, and the folks in this industry can make decisions that help travelers get better on those dimensions.
Okay, so wellness is the
wellness would be a
thing.
good overall label to.
Okay, and I like the idea of sleep being quite important from a personal and immediate perspective. So,
yes, it is.
Scott, thanks very much for taking the time to join us.
Pleasure,
I
Martin.
thoroughly enjoyed that. I like sort of prodding the paradigms every now and again is always good, and a good man to prod it with. So this is Tnooz Live at GBTA, presented by BCD Travel. I'm Martin Cowan, Editorial Director, just signing off, but I'll be back shortly. Thank you very much.